All right, imagine an AI that does more than just what you tell it to do. I mean, one that actually anticipates what you need, sets its own goals, and hey, even learns from its mistakes. Sounds like sci-fi, right? Well, it's not anymore. Today, we're jumping right into the world of Agentic AI, and trust me, this is a technology that's about to completely change how we interact with machines.
You know, for decades, we've kind of treated AI like a really powerful but, well, passive tool. We give it an order, it does the thing. Simple. But what if that whole relationship is about to flip on its head? What if AI could be more like an active partner, someone who doesn't just wait for instructions but actually takes the lead?
And that one question, that right there, it throws open the doors to a totally new era for AI, an era of autonomy, led by something we're calling AI agents. Okay, so what is agentic AI, really? Well, here's a good way to think about it. Picture the difference between a simple calculator and a really, really good personal assistant. A calculator, it just spits out the answer to whatever you type in. That's it. But an agentic AI, now that's different. It can understand the bigger picture, your main goals. It can figure out all the little steps to get there, and, this is the key part, it can adapt as it goes. We're talking about a huge shift from just a tool to a real partner.
Let me give you another way to picture this massive leap. Think about traditional AI like an early self-driving car, one that can only follow a very specific pre-programmed route. If there's an unexpected road closure, it's probably just going to stop, totally stuck. But an agentic AI, that's more like a seasoned human driver. It sees the roadblock, assesses the situation, figures out a new way to go, and get this, it even learns from that detour so it's smarter next time.
And that's why this apprentice metaphor is so perfect. See, we're not just handing our AI a to-do list anymore. We're giving it the background, the context, basically the why behind the work. And once it has that understanding, that's when it can start taking initiative, solving problems in ways we might not have thought of, and really becoming a valuable part of the team.
And let's be super clear here. This isn't just a tiny improvement. No, we are talking about a massive quantum leap in performance. When you empower an AI to act on its own, you unlock this incredible ability to process and act on information at a speed and scale that, well, it was basically unimaginable before. This is the kind of game changer that doesn't just make old things better, it creates completely new things we couldn't even do before.
So how did we even get to this point? I mean, a revolution like this doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. To really get why agentic AI is such a big deal, we got to look back at the decades of work that got us here. So let's do a quick history lesson on the key moments in AI.
Man, what a journey it's been. It all kicked off back in 1956, when the whole idea of a thinking machine was born. Then you had these early attempts at conversation, like Eliza. But a huge moment, a real turning point, was in '97, when IBM's Deep Blue beat the world chess champion. And then in 2016, AlphaGo did something even more mind-blowing. It mastered Go, a game that is just ridiculously more complex than chess. That showed us a whole new level of what a machine could intuit.
Okay, so what's the actual engine behind all this? What's the tech that's making things like AlphaGo and now agentic AI even possible?
Well, that engine is something called deep learning. And honestly, the best way to think about it is that we're teaching computers to learn in a way that's kind of inspired by our own brains. So instead of us having to write a rule for every single possible thing that could happen, we build these neural networks. They're these complex, layered systems that can just learn to spot patterns on their own by chewing through mountains of data.
Let me make that a bit more real for you. Imagine you're teaching it to recognize a face in a photo. A deep learning model doesn't just see a face, no way. The first layer just sees pixels, basic lines and dots. Then, the next layer up combines those lines into simple shapes and edges. Then another layer assembles those shapes into things like a nose or eyes. And finally, the very top layer puts all those pieces together and goes, aha, that's a face. It's building up its understanding layer by layer from the simplest bits to the whole complex picture.
And the results of doing it this way? They're absolutely staggering. In just a few years, the error rate for image recognition plummeted from, 26% all the way down to just 3%? I mean, in a lot of cases, that's better than us. And that is the kind of raw power that's fueling this whole next generation of AI. All right, so we've got a handle on the technology, but what about the so what? What does all this actually mean for us in the real world? And, just as important, what are the big challenges we're going to have to face?
Well, agentic AI is already making a huge difference, right now. In healthcare, it's helping predict diseases with incredible accuracy. In manufacturing, it's boosting productivity by up to 40%. In finance, it's catching fraud as it happens.
And in customer service, it's handling the vast majority of all the simple routine questions. This isn't some in-the-future stuff. This is happening today.
And it's not just a few tech startups either. We're seeing a huge wave of companies jumping on board. Think about this. In less than a decade, the number of businesses using AI has more than tripled. This tech isn't a niche thing anymore. It's quickly becoming a fundamental part of how business gets done.
But, and this is a big but, as AI gets woven deeper into our daily lives, we're running into a major problem. Trust. Or a lack of it. While businesses are all in, the public, a lot more skeptical. Right now, only about a quarter of people actually trust AI systems to make unbiased decisions. That is a massive gap, and it's one we absolutely have to address.
This really is a critical moment. We have a huge responsibility to build this technology the right way, to make sure it's reliable, transparent, and accountable. That means we have to tackle things like algorithmic bias, make sure we can understand why the AI is making the decisions it's making, protect people's privacy, and, create some smart rules for the road. This isn't just about dodging problems. It's about actively building a future where AI really helps everyone.
And all of this leads to the biggest question of all, responsibility. When an AI agent makes a huge, life-changing decision, who's on the hook? Is it the programmer who wrote the code, the company that used the system, or the AI itself? As we step into this new age, these aren't just tech questions anymore. They're deeply human questions. And the answers we come up with are going to define the world we live in.